Naomi emerged victorious in tonight's Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, securing herself the highly coveted briefcase and, with it, a guaranteed shot at either of the Women's World Championships. She can now cash in this opportunity at any time of her choosing within the next year. Although I initially predicted that Stephanie would come out on top, I truly believed she had the momentum going in. I'm not disappointed with Naomi's win at all. In fact, I think her current heel persona has been executed incredibly well, showing depth and intensity that makes her deserving of this accolade. It would be quite cool if she personalized the briefcase to align with her edgy character. Imagine it decked out in caution tape, maybe even covering the Cash App logo that's slapped on it. Everything in WWE seems to have a corporate sponsor now, even the ladders. Speaking of which, I found the ladder match itself to be genuinely entertaining. The high spots were executed brilliantly. One that stood out was the Devil's Kiss move delivered to Rhea Ripley on the propped-up ladder. It got a tremendous reaction from the crowd, and deservedly so. I also loved the tandem move from Roxanne and Alexa, who delivered a synchronized double pop rocks/code red. It was a great visual moment. Rhea's riptide and Alexa's sister Abigail also stood out as powerful moments. The entire match was fast-paced, dramatic, and packed with moments that kept the audience engaged. At the end of it all, Naomi stood tall as Miss Money in the Bank, a development that, while perhaps surprising to some, is hard to argue against. Her recent work has earned her the spotlight, and I think she'll bring a fresh, unpredictable energy to the storyline. On a lighter, yet equally fun note, tonight marked the introduction of Mr. Iguana, a puppet character that genuinely stole the show in its own way. Mr. Iguana actually took part in the first match of the Worlds Collide event earlier in the day, and it was an absolute delight to watch. The puppet gimmick was used during the match itself, and it was pulled off so effectively it felt like pure entertainment gold. WWE even gave Mr. Iguana some dedicated airtime, separating his appearance from other AAA roster members, likely responding to the buzz he's generated online. The internet has exploded with appreciation for this quirky character, and honestly, it has piqued my interest in following AAA more closely from now on. Later in the event, there was a brawl between Octagon Jr. and Dominic Mysterio, sparked by rising tension earlier at Worlds Collide. This altercation led to a match announcement just hours before the main show. Dominic Mysterio ended up winning that match, which was fairly short in duration. Octagon Jr. didn't manage to capitalize, and jokingly, maybe they should have sent in Mr. Iguana instead. In another significant development, Becky Lynch captured the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Unlike Naomi's win, this one I actually predicted correctly. I have a strong hunch that this sets up a potential feud between Becky and Bayley, perhaps culminating at the next Evolution event. Their history and chemistry make it an ideal match for a high-profile card like that. Part of me wondered if Bayley might even show up tonight after Becky's win, but no appearance yet, hopefully soon. The match between Becky and Lyra Valkyria stood out as one of the best of the night. It told a compelling story. Lyra fought with relentless determination, willing to put everything on the line, while Becky increasingly grew frustrated at her inability to put Lyra away. This culminated in Becky resorting to underhanded tactics, specifically grabbing the tights, to finally score the pin. That's a move the old Becky wouldn't have even considered, so it really cements her current heel transformation. What followed was a dose of psychological warfare. Becky forced Lyra to raise her hand in victory in all four corners of the ring, a public humiliation. Then, to top it off, she made Lyra strap the championship belt around her waist. That was never part of the deal, and Lyra knew it, but she went through with it anyway just to lay Becky out and regain some dignity. It was a smart, satisfying way to keep Lyra looking strong. On a side note, I have no clue what was written on Becky's shirt during the match. I couldn't catch a clear view. If anyone spots a picture online, especially on Instagram, please tag me at CrestonUK on Twitter. I'd really like to know. A lot of people have been pointing out the noticeable number of empty seats during Money in the Bank, especially during the early parts of the show. And yes, it was quite evident. However, it did start to fill in as the night went on. One contributing factor might have been the lighting setup. Bright seat lights made the empty spots look worse than they probably were. Additionally, some fans online reported trouble getting to the arena due to ongoing riots in Los Angeles, which may have delayed a number of attendees and impacted the crowd size for Worlds Collide as well. As if sponsored logos on briefcases weren't enough, WWE also introduced a new, sponsored ladder tied into a storyline involving Chad Gable. Dubbed the Mighty Fireball Ladder, this garish piece of hardware was hidden under the ring by the Creed brothers for use by El Grande Americano. Fightful Sean Ross had mentioned earlier in the day that something like this might be in the works, and while I hoped it wouldn't happen, they went through with it. Personally, I thought it looked terrible. Plus, if it had just been pulled out during the match, no one would have noticed the branding, so WWE had to create an entire backstage segment just to highlight the ladder's sponsorship. It felt forced and unnecessary. In the men's ladder match, Seth Rollins emerged as Mr. Money in the Bank 2025. While some fans might be disappointed if their favorite didn't win, this outcome is by no means a bad decision. Seth is a reliable main event talent, and choosing him is a smart, safe move for WWE. There's strong speculation that he'll attempt to cash in either on Monday Night Raw or sometime soon after. Strangely, there were no appearances from CM Punk, Roman Reigns, or even Sami Zayn, despite some of Seth's allies getting involved in the match. I expected at least some interference or counteractions. Instead, it was solo Sikoa's group, featuring Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo, who made their presence felt. And then came a huge moment. Jacob Fatu turned on Solo, declaring, "I hate you," before unleashing a brutal beatdown and putting Solo through a ladder. This turn officially marks Fatu as a babyface, which makes perfect sense. He's already popular even as a heel, so this shift could launch him to new heights. Wade Barrett even provided some unexpected commentary humor by analyzing nipple differences between Chad Gable and El Grande Americano. It was a bizarre moment, but amusing in its own way. Speaking of odd moments, Andrade had an especially rough night. He was on the receiving end of a ladder being dropped directly onto his groin. That had to be excruciating. Things didn't get much better for him either, as he later took a Mexican destroyer onto another setup ladder, which looked absolutely brutal. Nonetheless, the history books will now reflect that Seth Rollins captured the briefcase in 2025. The big question now is whether he'll cash in successfully, and if so, when. Triple H made a major announcement tonight as well. WrestleMania will return to Las Vegas in 2026. There's been a lot of buzz and speculation about where the big event